challenges that face the TMC and some of the OBT models is it was transactionally driven. The majority was. So, had it been a fixed or certainly a different commercial model, it wouldn't have had the same level of challenge. It would have been challenged, but not the same level of challenge. Well, and you're known for being a disruptor to start with, that and some of the products. What do you think is going to net out here? Do you think that model is going to evolve differently and that the corporate customers are going to be open to that like they are with some of their other suppliers?
It's a great question. So let's go back to the last 10 years pre-COVID.
Right.
The experience of the TMC sector was seeing movement from management fee or subscription type model to a transaction fee model, and basically seeing the price points commoditized with buyers. And effectively, that's the nature of a mature B2B industry, is the competitors compete away to their last dollar of margin in order to get share. It's not rational, but it's the way that markets tend to work. In our case, when I joined CWT in 2016, we were certainly in the middle of that experience. My perspective was we could not unilaterally change that market practice. We focused very much, therefore, on how do we articulate value differently to clients? How do we begin to win more? And we did much better with that. But then on the flip side is, how do we derive much more value from our supplier relationships than we have historically? And so what you saw basically over a period of time is TMC's revenue model shifting to be more balanced between client-driven and supplier-driven revenue sources, away from just being client-driven. And I think that will continue. If you look at consumer travel, for example, it's very, very focused on supplier-driven economics, much less so on consumer-driven economics, for example. The question that's been out there, and there's been a lot of conjecture from industry consultants and other folks, is with COVID and effectively, seeing volumes go down, for example, during the COVID period, in some cases 90 or 100%, and TMC is having effectively fixed cost, meaning these pools of people around the world. With a transaction model, all of a sudden you're left with cost. We have nothing to pay for it.
Right.
And is that really aligned with, the experience and the expertise of these people being able to stay on and serve the accounts of our clients? So I'd say we're having conversations with clients, and we're exploring a movement away from simply transaction-led pricing to a more hybrid approach, where there's more of a subscription fee element and a transaction fee element, and finding the right middle ground. And you can say, we're simply going to flip the switch. Understand, we have commercial contracts that are long-term in nature. We can't unilaterally walk into our client and say, by the way, here's your new deal that you have to sign, because clients have other choices. And so I think that what you'll see is, I think the model will shift back toward a subscription type model over time. But the idea of this being a commodity driven buying experience, that's not going to go away entirely. Now, what has changed is, instead of procurement being the only person sitting at the table making the lowest common denominator decision, I think the HR leaders and the CEOs are much more involved now in, travel is a human capital endeavor, and how do we protect our people and make sure we're delivering a good service for them? And so I think there is an opportunity to differentiate based on technology and service quality and capabilities, and perhaps to reflect that a bit in the economic relationship more than we have been able to recently. So I'm optimistic that the commoditization of client fees probably will be abated and flatten out here dramatically going forward. Will the effective fee per transaction, will it reverse and be U-shaped? I would love that to be the case. I'm not assuming that will happen, because while you can look at things on average and at a macro level and say that's rational, when we're getting in to retain a customer or to try to win a new customer, and we're in a dogfight with a couple of competitors, which is the case in almost every single circumstance, you're only as smart as your dumbest competitor. So that's the nature of the market. And so we don't try to lead on price, but we compete on price as one of the elements, and that's just a market mandate. So again, I think there's a reset and there's an opportunity to change the game here, Maria. But I think what's key is, you can't just, again, unilaterally change the commercials. You have to, by virtue of having a better value proposition, be able to garner economic benefit by virtue of that value proposition to the customer. So that's our real focus. And my perspective is the economics to some degree will take care of themselves if we deliver a strong enough set of value.